I'm going to show you another image. This is called a Vierge ouvrante, or an open virgin. And it was a common representation in medieval Europe. And it's a weird representation from a Christian perspective, because it kind of reverses the normal hierarchy of power. What you have here is Mary. She's holding the Christ child when the statue is closed. And then you open her up. And what you see inside Mary is God, the Father. And God the Father is holding Christ in his hands. Now, Mary constitutes the superordinate, benevolent feminine. And inside her is the structure of culture. So you can think, inside nature is the structure of culture. And that's represented in this image by God, because he's the ultimate father, obviously, in Christian thinking. And then the God figure is holding what? Crucified individual. What does that mean? Now, all the people around there, kings, queens, commoners, are all gazing at that central figure, which of course is fundamentally what everyone in Western civilization has been doing for 2,000 years, not knowing why. Nature gives rise to culture. Culture gives rise to the suffering individual. Well, that's true enough. It's true for everyone. It's true for life at every point in time. But there's more to the image of the crucifixion, because the crucifixion also represents voluntary acceptance of suffering and voluntary acceptance of death. And it also points to something else that's of paramount importance, which is that there's an element of the human psyche that can die and come back, and die and come back. And that's what happens to you when you encounter a catastrophe and you make order of it and you climb back out of the underworld. And your voyage through life is punctuated by trips to the underworld. And so you're somewhere, and then you go outside that, and then you go somewhere else, and then you go outside that. And so what happens to people is they generally identify with where they are. Order. But order dissolves and collapses, and then it reconstitutes itself. So then you might say, if you were trying to adapt to the structure of reality itself, instead of identifying with order, you would identify with a process that allowed you to transform yourself across repeated bouts of order and chaos. And that's what these sorts of images are trying to represent. So